Hello and welcome back to my story. I am Harley Nouveau, if you did not know, and in today's chapter we are tackling look number 2 in Making Faces by Kevyn Aucoin. Before we jump into it, I actually want to come on in here and say, if you were not aware, we just had a freak blizzard in Texas. Last week, the power was out like a ton of places all over the state for like days. Where I lived, we didn't have power for 5 days. I think the lowest it got down to was 2 or 1 degrees. So it was rough. I actually was planning on filming this last week, but with no power and the weather and just general condition of life, it kind of made that impossible to do. So here we are doing it now. There isn't really much to update between that and here, other than I got new earrings again. They're very similar to my other earrings, but these are black and white as opposed to just strictly black. Last time, if you remember, the look we did was simplicity. Today is neutral, and as you can tell, the person in question in the photo is Naomi Campbell. This is similar to the other one, a more everyday, natural, subdued daytime look. So it's, again, not going to be very dramatic, but as we go along, the drama will up, the severity will up. It will get more diverse. So in his excerpt, Kevyn Aucoin says, "I've always been a fan of neutral colors, especially for the eyes. Neutral tones are typically light beige to dark brown based colors and therefore are found naturally in the skin. These shades enhance the features when lightly applied because they tend to resemble your own natural shading and contours. When used with more intensity, neutrals can add drama without adding too much color. That is your goal. In my opinion, it's hard to go wrong with this look." Naomi, as you can see, wears neutral makeup extraordinarily well, and you can see how the wearer's best features are spotlighted. I clearly am not Naomi Campbell, I know. I don't think that I'm gonna look quite as elegant as she does, but I'm going to give it my best try. Also, it says tip, neutral tones can be applied in liquid or cream, shimmer or matte, each texture creating subtle differences. I think most of the things I'm using today are more matte in nature. So let's get into the look itself. So for this look, you're gonna need a warm tone foundation. This is actually the Camo CC Cream by e.l.f. This is more neutral than warm. I don't really carry warm toned foundations because I'm not warm toned and I don't like the way that looks. So neutral is gonna have to be warm enough today. A face powder and a circular sponge, a neutral toned brow pencil. This is just e.l.f. I think this is in taupe or light brown. A brow brush, this is from Morphe. A neutral brown powder shadow and a flesh tone powder shadow. I'm gonna use the Going Coconuts palette from ColourPop today because it has all the colors I need. Again, a sponge tip applicator. We're not doing that because gross. The eyelash curler and a brown black mascara. This is the BFF mascara from ColourPop as well. An apricot blush. This is e.l.f. in this specific one, I believe is cantaloupe, fruit adjacent. And then a brush for that blush. A neutral tone lip pencil. This is from LA Color. Neutral lip color. This is in Hades from ColourPop. A lighter neutral lipstick. This is in Peach Please. This is Wet n Wild, and this is more shimmery. So step 1 says, using a sponge or finger, take your warm tone foundation and spread under the eyes, starting from the alongside the nose outward to the cheekbones, around the mouth, the center of the forehead, down the bridge of the nose, and blend the foundation well into the skin to make sure there are no distinct lines. So essentially, you're just gonna put the foundation everywhere that you would typically highlight the face and then blend out. Dispensing a little bit of that on the back of my hand. I'm gonna work one pump at a time. I love doing this because I feel like it looks so crazy. Okay, so essentially here, and then just blend it out. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in with my sponge just to blend it even more. Fun fact, did you guys know that if you use your sponge dry, it actually gives less coverage than if you were to do it wet? Reason being because there's less liquid in the sponge, so you absorb more product. So if you want to shear your product out even more than it already shears using a sponge, you can use a dry sponge. Okay. Okay. Step 2, with your sponge, apply translucent face powder. So essentially, we're just setting the face. As you can see, I do have a bit of a breakout from the lack of water for a few days, so I really don't ever use this sponge for powder. I usually use this for my foundation, but I've not done that in a while. I think mostly because I haven't really done makeup that often. But yeah, I don't even remember why I started using it. I didn't mind the way the finish looked when I would use it for my foundation. I just stopped. I don't know. Step number 3, groom the brows, fill in with the pencil of your choice and brush upward. I assume when it says use an eyebrow brush, it means this side of the brush, which is just really a mascara one, so I don't know why it wouldn't say that. As I said last time, who am I to question? My eyebrows are already actually a tad done from today, so I'm really just refreshing them. I actually spent a couple of days over the weekend working on my brow game, or working on my brows, because I was trying to decide what kind of shape I wanted to go for. So I went with brow mapping, which is what they do when they do microblading. And supposedly it'll give you your scientifically most flattering brow. So I did that. And this is what I ended up with. So if you have any thoughts on how they look, comment down below and let me know. Step 4, for the eyes, use the brush to apply a neutral brown shadow to the inner eye, under the bottom lashes, and around the outer corner. Only slightly on the inner corner. So essentially I'm just covering my entire eye space with brown, avoiding in here. Now since it does want me to use a sponge tip applicator, I'm assuming it's wanting me to go for more of a packing motion. So I'm going to use this e.l.f. blending brush because it's very dense and it actually works very well to like pack color on. And then as I said, I am going to be using the Going Coconuts palette. So the color I'm going to be using today, Culotta, because it's a neutral brown. This is more warm tone, but this is the only really true neutral brown in the palette, so I'm going to use this. I notice that Kevyn does not use eyeshadow primer in any of these looks so far, which is a choice, let me tell you, because I have A, not even toned lids, and B, oily lids. So not using a primer really does not benefit me in the long run for my eyes. Now typically you can just use a concealer. Just keep in mind that concealers are not meant to be very drying, so you could still notice some slip and some creasing, in which case you want to set it. Why not just use an actual eyeshadow primer if that is the case, because they are meant to dry down. A good one I really like is obviously Paint Pot. I love the Milani has one in a tube. Also, the color tattoo, I tried it for my first look. It's very good and it doesn't crease. So if you were to get a skin tone of that, that'd probably be a really good eyeshadow primer too. Of course, I don't really feel like it needs specification, but just in case, you are gonna watch this and you're gonna see these pictures and you're going to wonder why I end up looking so different from Naomi. I'm really Caucasian, so having a less deep skin tone than her, a lot of these neutral browns, most of these colors are gonna pop more on my skin. So while she used a tone like this, because her skin is more rich and deep, it would blend in more naturally versus me, who looks like uncooked chicken. Next, it says take a pale flesh tone shadow and stroke a soft line down the center of your eyelid. So it's gonna be essentially a very soft halo eye in application. Again, I'm gonna want to pick a more dense brush for this because I am trying to pat on the pigment. So this is just a ColourPop E3, and I'm gonna be taking Shredded, which is this flesh tone right here, stroking it down the middle of the lid. You know, the funny thing is that I said these looks weren't going to be super dramatic, but I didn't take into account because I am so pale. These are going to look more dramatic on me. Also, if you don't follow my Instagram, I link it down below. I really recommend doing that because you will see how these looks photographed. I don't really edit my photos anymore. I used to when I was more insecure. Apart from just doing light filtering on it to like literal light filtering, because as you know, when you take a photo, sometimes it will remove the vibrancy that it has in person. So I literally just edit the contrast and vibrancy on the whole photo to make it more true to life. But especially what you're missing is me attempting to recreate the way the original photos in the book look. I will, for example, throw up the simplicity look in the book and the simplicity look on me. And I'm going to be doing that with the whole series. Next step is curl the lashes and add mascara to top and bottom lashes. I've noticed that Kevyn is very keen on doing upper and lower mascara. It's just dependent on my mood, because I do feel like some looks look better without lower mascara. Typically those where you have less shadow underneath. But since this does have shadow underneath, I can see the appeal. I want to get a lash comb. I used to have one, but I lost it somehow. Because I really don't like the way mascara looks when it clumps. And a lash comb will help you get rid of any clumps you may develop. I really want to try that new Maybelline Sky High, I believe it's called. I've seen it going viral on TikTok. For the first time, I actually curled my lashes, and I feel like you can tell. Normally when I curl my lashes, I feel like, ooh, what was the big difference? This time, I'm seeing something. It does look like Kevyn only used a single coat of mascara, so I'm not going to double up or anything like that. Keep in mind, however, that a lot of photos that people see usually have 2 or 3 coats of mascara. So if you ever wonder why you put on mascara and it doesn't look that great, or it looks kind of sparse, more than likely you just need more coats. And that is where that comb comes in handy, because it will help separate any clumping, which you will definitely get if you are using multiple coats of mascara. I actually really like this mascara. I've only ever tried the brown, but I really love the way it looks when I apply it. Next step, with the blush brush, dust apricot blush onto the cheekbones, temples, chin, sides of the neck, and the hairline. If done lightly and well, it will add to the warming effect of the makeup. It's funny that it says warm, because so far everything's been really neutral except the foundation. I actually really love these bite-sized face duos. I think they got great pigmentation, great payoff, and yeah, they're very affordable too, which is another great thing. So it's set onto cheekbones, which is here for me because I am round like a cake. Not a lot of definition in my life. Temples. Chin. Sides of the neck. I love looking at the demarcation between my foundation and my face, because my face is obviously very pink from my rosacea. And then hairline, which is definitely nothing I've ever done before. Right now I'm only doing half of my face because I want to show you the effect in comparison. Using this book as an example, you have half of my face and half of my face. I don't really know if you can tell the difference there. It's hard for me to tell because I have a giant light in my face. Looking at it, I kind of like it, honestly. It's very different from anything I would normally do. So let's replicate that on the other side. A trick to blush, if you have a hard time applying it, is to pat it in first to deposit and then swipe to blend. If you go on just like doing this immediately, typically it will look very patchy or less uniform in my experience. So pat and then start moving around. And then of course I'm going to carry that up into the hairline. Next, using your neutral lip pencil, slightly darker than your skin tone, draw in your lip shape and fill in with the same pencil. Now, one thing I definitely need to add to my collection is more lip pencils. I don't even remember getting an LA Girl lip pencil, honestly. So, I've discovered something with my upper lip now, where if I oval shape across it when I'm doing that, when I relax it, it is the shape of my lip, which I love. Now, people always ask me what the hardest thing, or what is the hardest thing for me to do. And without fail, it's lips. Do not know why I have such a hard time with lips, but I do. Next we have over the pencil, cover with your neutral beige lip color just to the edge of the lip pencil. Using a lip brush for accuracy, blot, reapply, then blot again. Of course, my ColourPop Hades lipstick. This is my favorite lipstick color that I own. And I'm very sad that they don't sell this one anymore last time I checked. Now to blot, I actually can't find a paper towel, so I'm just gonna have to use this cardboard paper. Which, all of the greats would blot just to get excess color off. And then, of course, reapply my color. I'll be honest with you guys, I literally never blot my lips. I might actually start, because I really love the way that ended up looking. And then finally, with your fingertip, dab the lighter shade of the neutral lipstick just on the center of the lips to create the illusion of added fullness. And the finished mouth is one example of a three-dimensional mouth. And voila, we have the finished look. Let me pull out Naomi to compare. Do you think we look like twins? I'm not mad about it. Again, this is another look that I don't think I would have ever done unprompted. Especially with the blush, I don't think I would have ever done that. Which, this is called, I believe, draping. The technique of essentially contouring and bronzing with just your blush. But, like I said, I kind of like it. As for the eyes, I actually ended up really digging those too. There's not much about this I don't like. I will say the face does feel a tad dry to me, which would make sense because I literally just pressed in powder on top of a foundation, which I don't know what finish that foundation was. It went a very long way for how little I used. Here is Neutral by Kevyn Aucoin. I want to thank you guys for stopping in today. The very few of you that did, for some reason, I say for some reason, I probably know why. My last video over this book had the least amount of views that I've had in like over a year, but I don't upload super regularly, and I'm sure that throws a wrench in my algorithm, what little I utilize. I've really, so far for the two looks I've done, I'm really enjoying this series, and I hope that you guys are enjoying it as well. I hope that you're learning something. If not, I hope that you are, at the very least, being entertained. I don't know what's very entertaining about straight up learning, but some people are into that. I am, for example. Next up, we will tackle shimmer in this series, which, as the name implies, is going to be very shiny, a lot of luminosity. So I'm excited for that one. I don't think I have much else to say other than, as always, I am Harley Nouveau, and I wish each of you every happiness until our stars next align.